My goodness, I read that you actually had three of these mini strokes 3 days in a row. And just let's back up. When you first went to the hospital, what did they say to you?
Well, they ran some testing, and at the end of the 3.5 hours of being there, they came out and told me that it was stress and that I needed to learn to manage my stress.
And what were you thinking when you heard that?
I just kind of, laughed to myself and thought, this is not stress. I couldn't believe the diagnosis that they came out with.
So then talk me through this decision. Once these symptoms are overcoming you for a third time, you pull out your cell phone. Why did you do it?
Because I needed somebody just to be able to show somebody what was happening, because I knew this wasn't stress. Having been to an emergency, I was so shocked that a doctor dismissed it as stress, and yet everything that I can recall from public service announcements and things that I've seen on TV, I knew they were stroke symptoms.
Good for you. I mean, Elizabeth Cohen, you talk all the time about being an empowered patient. I have you now as my little voice in my head. And so she followed her gut. She knew it. And it ends up, it was suffering TIAs. What is that?
That is a transient ischemic attack. And it's in layman's terms, it's mini stroke. So you have these sudden attacks like Stacey did, and they may last just, 3 or 4 minutes, and then they go away. And in and of themselves, they're not always harmful, but it is a strong indicator that you're going to go on and have another stroke. And so I want to give these symptoms here really as a public service, because when they happen, you need to know so that you can be empowered like Stacey was. So first, you can remember the acronym FACE. FAST rather. So the F is for face. Does your smile droop on one side? The A is for arms. Does one arm drift downwards? The S is for speech. Is your speech slurred or strange? And then the T is time. I can't emphasize this enough, that you want to get to these quickly. Sometimes, there's incredible treatments they can give you, but if you're too late, they can't give them to you. And I'm glad to say that Stacey, has shared with us that she's doing great now.
Yeah.
But it's, this is scary stuff. You don't want to mess around with the stroke. And I will be honest, it makes me crazy when I hear about ERs patting people on the head and saying you need to manage your stress better. Stacey shared with me before. She said, I'm divorced, I have a tough job, I know stress, and this ain't stress.
This was much more than stress, Stacey. How long did they last for you? Just a couple minutes, or?
Each one lasted approximately 7 to 10 minutes.
7 to 10 minutes. And so now, we were talking in commercial break, you said you're okay. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. I, sought treatment at another hospital and was referred to the TAMS unit at Toronto Western. And so I'm being followed by them and monitored and on medication now to keep this at bay and to prevent any future stroking.